Hello and welcome to Business Class. My name is Shantanu Prakash, and today we have a very interesting guest on our show, Anurag Batra. Anurag, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shantanu.
Anurag is the chairman and the founder of Exchange for Media as well as of Business World. And I must say that spending 30 minutes with him has been an accelerating experience because he has so much to offer in terms of how he started his work and all his amazing big plans for the future. But what is most interesting about Anurag, and he described himself as a serial entrepreneur and an eternal optimist. So, Anurag, how do these two things go together?
If you're not an optimist in life, you can't be a normal human being also. So I think serial entrepreneur is not a, sometimes when you make your profiles, you like to believe. But the fact is, I've only done two real ventures. One is Exchange for Media, and then is Business World. In between, I've done ventures which haven't succeeded. I started a media school. So Robika Liaquat, who's on ABP, is from our media school. She's the
Fantastic.
so I've done some other ventures which I haven't done well. So in the sense, you got to be an optimist. If you're not optimistic about your future, the future of people with you, I don't think you can move forward. And life is about moving forward. एक हिंदी पिक्चर से गाना है, it's I don't know what movie I've forgotten. It's about moving forward. Basically, as long as you are moving forward, as long as the water is flowing, the water stays clean and it helps everyone. If the water is stagnant, then really the water doesn't help. So human beings have to be optimistic. There's no other way to live. There are only two things that matter, is gratitude and optimism. If you have those two, everything else will follow.
So, Anurag, your story has been a very inspiring story of the way you actually thought of these very disruptive and very innovative ideas. What I really want you to talk about is there is something called an entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, so when people are looking at life, looking at opportunities, there is a way to look at it from an entrepreneurial perspective. So tell us a little bit about how you actually became an entrepreneur in the first place. Are you from a business family?
Shantanu, it is very fashionable to be able to tell people, oh, I was sitting under a tree and I suddenly got this idea. And since the time I was born in the clinic, I had when I was 2 months old. So can I be honest with you? I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I don't come from a business family. I come from a family of academicians. My father studied at BITS Pilani, but he chose to be a professor. He was a professor of chemistry. Then he became a head of department. Then he became the principal of a college. My mother was a school teacher. Then he became a headmistress of a school. Then she came to the SCRT in Gurgaon. So I'm really an accidental entrepreneur. I don't come from a business family. And I'll tell you, a lot of things are God's wish. They're serendipity, they're accidental. One thing leads to another. So there's no grand plan. At some stage, you tend to put everything together and then you start planning. But, like most people do in India, I did what most people do. I went to an engineering school. And then my father wanted me to do an MTech, but I wasn't really interested. And I was lucky enough to get into MDI. I keep saying I'm from the first batch of MDI. I got in when the quality control was bad. People like me got in.
It's one of the finest schools in India
Yeah,
right
in
now.
spite of people like me. Yes, in spite of people like me, it's a good school. But jokes apart, it's about luck. And once you are in the play, God sends you ideas. You meet people, you learn from them. You look at what's happening in the environment. So, one thing leads to another. So there's no, at least when I started, there was no grand plan. And I didn't start to be an entrepreneur. It happened one day, and a friend of mine gave me, in India, 3Fs invest, friends, fools, family. So one of my friends gave me 63 lakhs to start Exchange for Media. I'd actually gone to him for advice. Somebody was investing and he said, take it from me. So life is a series of happy coincidences. And then God has a plan for you. See, I'm a Hindu and I believe in your life being preordained, prarabdha, that is already arranged for you. So I think I started Exchange for Media to build a marketplace, a B2B e-commerce marketplace, an Ariba or a commerce one for the media
And that
industry.
was the first of its kind
Yeah,
in the country,
yeah. In
right?
2001, to start a B2B e-commerce site, uh, we were ahead of time. We were pioneers. But in media, we were very ahead of time because in India, it's a very face-to-face relationship-based business still, especially in the business-to-business setting. So we really tried building for 3 years a marketplace, but the big boys have their own sales teams. They don't want transparency. They don't want a platform that democratizes. So we couldn't build that. We started a daily newsletter on media advertising, marketing, communication. It became the homepage of everyone. Then we launched the Impact, which is a weekly in the advertising space. We launched Pitch, the marketing one. Then we launched the real estate magazine. So we became a media company. But if I go back, Shantanu, at the age of 8, I would read 3 newspapers, 5 magazines. Uh, my parents would get all these at home. So I was a very big consumer of content, books, uh, and in some way, as you know, that the subconscious mind works on, got me into media. So I became a media person. But really, trust me, it's all accidental. Of course, once we were in the business, then we thought of logical
Sure.
progression of ideas. You know, other people come and tell you, why don't you do this? So it then became a business. And again, I'm not in the media business in exchange for media. I'm in the business of building communities through digital content, through magazine, through events. So I'm not, I mean, you can call it media, but it's media plus plus, so to
Sure.
say. And then business world again, 6 years back, one day accidentally, somebody told me it's up for sale. I picked up the phone. We met the person who owned it, and in one day I bought it.
Fantastic.
So, you know, again, in last 6 years, I had a plan for business world. I've only done 20% of what I can, is in my plan. So, point I'm trying to make is that a lot of it is luck, chance, preordained. We don't know that. We make efforts. You show up when you need to show up. Uh, if you have good intent, God makes things happen.
So that's a very unique philosophy or take on life. But if you go back and rewind the clock a little bit, you graduated from MDI. You know, everybody getting out of there gets a fantastic job. And after that, most people, I would say 99% of people, get into this golden cage. Either they're working in an MNC, they have all these wonderful perks and trappings around them, big fancy designation, a beautiful business card. But something happened in your life. Okay, that's what I want to explore. That made you abandon this and say, now I want to be an entrepreneur, which is a completely different lifestyle from being a employee.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
that employee to entrepreneurship transition, was there one particular thing that triggered it off?
See, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I don't. One is candid. I was out of a job when I became an entrepreneur. In the sense that, you know, AMF bowling had shut down. I used to work with Deep. Deep was my boss. He used to be a customer. I joined HTA. And I started thinking of entrepreneurship then. But I joined HTA, so I forgot. When we joined HTA, me and a batchmate of mine who's a very successful entrepreneur, we said the process of media planning buying is very inefficient. If we could build a marketplace, we could bring transparency, we could bring democratization, we could do business making. So really we thought of it. And then I always believe when you're doing the interview, when I'm in the interview, be full in, all in. So I said to my friend and my partner that I'll go leave the job because the only way, nobody will give you money if you're part-time. And that clarity, I don't know where I got it from. But I always believe when you're into something, you're fully in. And at some stage, it will lead to results. So I jumped in. God sent me a friend who gave me money. So it was not really, I didn't have an entrepreneurial mindset. But I'll tell you, in all my jobs, I was lucky enough to work with fantastic bosses. Two of them are very well known in India and very successful and very fantastic human beings. They don't need that certificate or credit from me. But I must tell you that all my bosses are fantastic. And I still have very close friends with them. Some I meet very often, some are not that. But I'm very grateful to them for the opportunities